guys. Welcome to episode 97 of C3 Crystals, Cauldrons, and Cocktails. I'm River.
And I'm Wren.
And this week we're going to be talking about witch balls. But not only that, but how you can make some yourself. Why are
Witch
you
balls.
laughing? Witches have balls? What are you talking about?
Yeah. It's just funny.
I know some very ballsy witches, actually. Okay, she didn't laugh at that one. Okay, first, though, we want to have you guys remember to help us out. We wanted to remind you to please support us either at patreon.com or on Buzzsprout. Anything that you can do is helpful. I want to give some shout outs. We've got some new people. Michaela, Heather, and Paula are our newest patrons, and Lisa and Nikki are our newest subscribers. And I have to do a special shout out to our oldest subscriber. Well, she's not old. Oh, that came out bad.
She's been with us for the longest.
The longest amount of time. Jessica has been with us from the very beginning, and she's very supportive. She supports us on Facebook and our social media. She is wonderful. So thank you guys so much. We can't do it without you, everybody that supports us as a hero. So please, please help us out. Okay.
Yes, and I also wanted to add, check out our YouTube, because that's one thing that I know people listen and skip a lot of parts because we banter. I get it. You probably have already skipped through all of the beginning because you're like, yep, they're going to talk about what they drink. I don't want to know that, whatever.
Spilled my drink all down the front of me.
Oh, congratulations.
I know. That bodes well for this episode.
Yeah. But also check out our YouTube, because we have all of our episodes up on YouTube, including this one. We also have, what else do we have that is pretty active? Our TikTok is pretty active. So we always say this at the end of our episodes, but sometimes y'all may never make it there, blah, blah, blah. But we do have all of our social medias. If you guys want to check us out, go subscribe on YouTube. It's free, just one click of a button. It really does wonders and helps us. It's just one click of a button that y'all could do, and we would love that. So now let's talk about witch balls.
I get it. I can't afford to support all the 50 million podcasts that I listen to either. You can support us without monetarily supporting us.
Yeah, there's things you could do, you could review us, you could rate us, you can share us with your friends, you could talk about us on social media, or just, click that subscribe button, or you could comment, be like, I love your show. Anything helps.
Definitely. Anyway, we love all you guys. Thank you all for listening. So the next most important thing is what? No, are we drinking?
I just want to make all the jokes about witch balls. Okay.
I know that really is pretty funny, but we are working still on our cocktail book, of course. And Wren's husband is like, y'all need to get it published. I'm like, we're trying.
Get it done fast, but
that's hard work to we can't that's specifically this drink that we're working on today, the Frozen Fairy, and it's rosé wine, frozen strawberries, and a splash of strawberry liqueur to taste. And that's the key word. It's to taste, because Wren's taste and my taste are two totally different things.
Yeah, it's hard. This book is going to be a bunch of measure with your heart.
Yes, for sure. We should probably call it Measure with Your Heart. Yeah. A witch cocktail book, Measure with Your Heart.
Measure with your heart. Here's the ingredients. Have at it.
Have at it. Good luck. But I actually froze my sparkling rosé wine that I love so much. That's my go-to if I'm not doing fancy cocktails. It's my rosé wine. And so I made it into this slushy consistency, and then I mixed it with pureed frozen strawberries and added a splash of that strawberry liqueur. And for Wren, she likes more strawberry liqueur because that's the sweet stuff. And I like less strawberry liqueur, but it is so good. And it's been so freaking hot here. And it's just so nice to have anything frozen, which I know we have some listeners in Australia, and I guess it's winter time there. So they're like, frozen. No, not right now. No.
Yeah, it still boggles my mind.
I know, mine too. It's crazy.
I don't know.
It's so neat to make friends all the way across the world. How cool is that? Okay. Now on to witch balls. So what is a witch ball? A witch ball is a hollow sphere of glass. Historically, witch balls were hung in cottage windows in the 17th and 18th century in England to ward off evil spirits, witches, evil spells, ill fortune, and bad spirits. The idea is that the spirit is mesmerized by the colors in this ball and the reflection on the ball. And so it enters the ball and then gets caught inside and can't get out. So it's like a fly trap for spirits, basically.
Okay.
Another definition. Wow. Definition is it is a hollow sphere of plain or striated glass hung in cottage windows to ward off evil spirits. But later it became popular to have them perched on top of a vase, not just suspended like you might do. So like for decoration, actually. And some of these balls are actually mirrored surfaces. I don't know if you've seen some of those that are totally mirrors. They're pretty cool. But it's pretty much a cute little bauble that's designed to ensnare evil spirits and energies and protect the space that they're hung in. Now, what do you do with the spirit once it's caught? I mean, how many they could have a party in there. Who knows?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what you would do. Like my first thought is if it's like something like evil entity wise and you don't want it to ever hurt or harm anybody, you lock it in a safe and drown it in a river.
Oh, that's true. They say it can't get out unless you break it. So should
you wrap
stay
the ball
in there
in bubble wrap, shove it in a safe,
and then sink it to the bottom of the ocean.
Lower it to the bottom of like a river and the ocean, whatever it may be. But then I have a hard time because then you're taking the like free will and ability of that creature and being and taking that into your own hands, and you're the one who's dictating what happens to it forever.
See, that's true. That makes me think, I think you might have been over the weekend that this happened. I can't remember, but we have Juro spiders here in Georgia.
Juro?
And I thought that was Juro.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I pronounce it Jaro spiders.
Big ass spiders. And they're gorgeous, but they are invasive and huge. And their webs are super strong. They're so strong they can catch hummingbirds and they can eat hummingbirds.
Yeah, I know you guys have hummingbirds.
Yes. And so my husband is a big hummingbird fan and he will not tolerate that. So, but the other day, I think Wren was over and we were sitting out on the deck and one of my carpenter bees got stuck in a Juro spider. And my husband jumped up and rescued it and let it go. So like you're talking about, I know he loves me. Like you're talking about, I would feel bad watching a evil spirit, even if it's evil, be stuck in there. That hurts my heart. I don't know.
Yeah, because like, I mean, I don't know. There's evil and then there's good, but then good can become evil and evil can become good. And so what's to say you locking that evil thing into this ball and you're keeping it from being able to do anything, to be able to change, to be like, even if it doesn't, you're still like not even giving it the option.
Hey, spirits can change, man.
Why?
I'm just saying, you're saying they can change.
They can.
I never thought about that before. Evil spirits are evil.
Yeah. Okay. But I mean, if you're an evil person in life, right?
True.
And then you die and you become an evil spirit, and then you come upon, say, somebody who you interact with that you never interacted with in your human life, that you probably should have to become a better person or thing, and then now you can become a better thing, and then you're hindering that whole entire process by locking it in a ball and sinking it into the bottom of the ocean.
You're not wrong. Maybe they would meet the love of their life, which would change the love of their death, which would change their whole attitude.
Yeah. Who's to say?
You're not wrong. So I guess it's up to all of you as to what you do with the evil spirit. Maybe you can take them out into the woods and break the ball out there and let them free in the woods.
Yeah, but what's to say they're not going to attach to you and come back?
That's true too. Or attack some campers, and that's how we get the Blair Witch story.
Yeah.
Now we know where Blair Witch came from.
For real. Somebody took their witch ball out to the middle of the woods and
And
cracked it.
broke it.
Or you could just like, leave it teetering on like a branch, and it would give you enough time to get out of there and make sure nobody's around. I don't know. But then it's a whole thing.
I know. It is a whole
It's
thing.
a cycle of, but it could be good. But if it gets out and it does bad again, then it's on you. Blah, blah, blah.
There's whole ethical consequences to witch balls. Who knew?
Who knew? Witch balls.
they actually look kind of like fancy glass Christmas ornaments with glass thread fibers inside. And in fact, some people say this is where Christmas ornaments came from. The idea of that tradition came from witch balls, which I have a did you know? Okay. Did you know Mad King Ludwig of Bavaria loved these gazing balls so much that he had them produced in so many sizes to be hung in trees and floated in ponds and displayed all over and around his castle. They were put on pedestals. And the claim is that his obsession led to the use of these glass baubles as being Christmas tree ornaments. And he was considered so eccentric that his whole purpose, well, not his whole purpose, because he was also a king, but he wanted to rule over this fairy tale kingdom. And so he built all these fairy tale castles that are among some of the most beautiful castles in Germany and are huge tourist attractions. So you can actually go and look at these castles that he built because he wanted allegedly to rule over a fairy tale kingdom. So I thought that was kind of cool.
That would be me. Make everything look how I want as a queen. No, I don't want any of this peasant shit. I want this.
I want gargoyles even today.
Oh my gosh.
Why don't they put gargoyles on things anymore?
I told my husband, I was like, oh my God, because the house that I really want, like, it doesn't exist. Like, I would have to make it, but there's no amount of detail that people nowadays are willing to like spend that long on building a house. People build a house in a week, and then it's
crazy.
Boom, bam, it's done, and it's all this nasty ass modern gray, whatever.
And they all look the same.
Yeah, if that's your vibe, okay, great. That's not my vibe. I want a Victorian-esque home on the outside, with like all the little details in the crown molding and all the little details. I turned to my husband. No, I want it to be. It could be gray and darkish, like a almost
purple.
Gothic, but no, almost Gothic, but not like the modern tone grays, like warm grays. It's weird. Okay, I have this beautiful image in my head, and I was like, we need gargoyles, and he's like, from another country. And so he's like, what the fuck is a gargoyle? Like, he doesn't know what that is. And I'm like, oh, come on. Like, I know there are gargoyles all across, like, there's France, like, they're everywhere. But he grew up in a small little town, okay? And so he's like, what the fuck is a gargoyle? And so I show him a picture, and he's like, absolutely not.
Hell
like,
no.
Yeah, for real. He's like, no, absolutely not. And I was like, come on, they don't have to be that ugly. Like, a gargoyle could be cute. Like, I was like, I guess I didn't show him the right picture, but like, that's what a gargoyle is. And so I was like, this is a gargoyle. And he's like, no, we're not having that on our house. And I was like, but they protect from evil spirits. Like, they ward off evil. And he's like, I don't give a fuck what they ward off. We're not having that on our house.
That reminds me, this probably dates me, but did you see when you grew up the gargoyle cartoons? No, she's not. Okay, so I have aged myself, but they had the coolest cartoons when I was growing up about gargoyles, and they would turn to stone at night. It was a whole thing. Anyway, I would like gargoyles on my houses too.
I have a vivid image of where I remember seeing gargoyles, like in shows and stuff, but I can't quite place it. I want to say it's like Casper the Ghost type of vibe, but it's not, because I don't remember.
Didn't you go to France when you were in high school or something?
I did, but it was like a show that I watched, and there were gargoyles on it, and it's like on the tip of my tongue, but I can't remember. Like, I can picture it. Wait. Their eyes glow green. Oh gosh.
That was gargoyle. Was it not a cartoon? Because in this cartoon,
I don't think it was a cartoon. I don't know, but there's something in my childhood that had a gargoyle, but I blocked out most of my childhood, so I don't remember.
Oh, okay. That wasn't funny. Sorry. Oh, wow.
Wow, laugh at Ren's emotional trauma.
I'm so sorry. Okay. But witch balls aren't tied to a holiday, even though they might have led to Christmas decorations. They are hung all year round, often in an eastern window. And as we've already said, they're supposed to fend off evil spirits, witches. Why witches get pulled into this? I don't know. It's
We're
our
not evil.
balls,
We
for
just want
God's
to
sake.
harmonize with the earth, man.
Right? Peace, man. Illness, bad fortune, and curses, which I can see back in the day when they would get sick and die so easily because there wasn't modern
Yeah.
medicine, the need for having something that you could say, oh, well, I'll hang up this ball and it'll catch all the sickness that's, around, whatever.
Yeah.
But they're also called lawn balls, yard globes, witch balls, fairy balls, mirror balls, and globes of happiness. That's my
Wow,
favorite.
that's a lot of balls.
And
The
these
globes
little,
of happiness is nice too.
I do like that one. Globes of happiness. I'm sure that my husband thinks his balls are globes of happiness as well. Okay, I'll probably
LOL.
cut that out. Okay.
LOL.
All right. These shiny spheres range widely in size. They can be from as little as 2 inches to over 2 feet. I have seen some garden ones on these pedestals out in the garden, like a French or Grecian column, and you put the huge ball that's mirrored on top of it.
Yeah.
So the history of witch balls, they actually originated among all kinds of cultures in the past where harmful magic and those who practiced it were feared. It was a protection mechanism. So they appeared in a variety of geographical contexts and had numerous uses, but the name itself refers to the belief that these balls were protective and could scare off witches, basically. A lot of countries that thought it was a great way to protect against the evil eye, which we've done an episode on the evil eye. But the English cultures that had them brought that tradition, I suppose, to New England here in the United States. Oh, and I forgot, they are also called Yule balls because of the tie to Christmas or Yule.
Oh, okay.
But they were also ancient pagan customs that people had as well. But did you know? Okay, this is really funny. They're also called, or they used to be called, butler balls. Those mirrored glow. You should see Wren's face. She's making a face. The reflected mirrored globe, you could put them strategically on a dining room sideboard. So in the Victorian era, the servants could remain outside the room and not bother the rich people, and could still see when service was needed. So they could stand and look in the reflection of the ball and say, oh, that one needs more wine. Let's go in and fill up the wine.
That just seems very extra of those people. Like you can just
Well,
say, hey, I need more wine, or please can you give me
they
more
even had
wine?
little
Like
bells
the
where
little
they would
bells. Yeah.
ring, which I think is
That just
rude. But
seems so extra.
not only that, but they were used to chaperone young couples during courtship. So you would allow your little couple to go out into the garden, and you would have these balls strategically placed throughout the maze or out in the garden, and you could watch them to make sure, that they didn't kiss or touch. Oh, no.
Wow. Forbid. Oh, man.
I know. Crazy.
That's so weird.
The word witch ball may actually be a corruption of watch ball because it was used to ward off and guard against evil spirits. And these were often and still are hung in the eastern window. You can place them on top of a vase. You can suspend them from a cord, like on your mantle. You can hang them in the garden, which I really, after doing this episode, I'm going to go and get some, or maybe make
But be
some.
careful with the reflectiveness because you could catch things on fire.
Oh, for sure. I think, yeah, we went together to the Renaissance Festival, and we went into this one tent, and the lady had a crystal ball. And I think we probably told our listeners this, and it caught the tent on fire. Well, it started to. She
started
quickly
to. It
got
was
it.
smoking, and I was like, I thought that was supposed to happen because they had like incense going and, incense
Hmm.
smokes and all of that. So I just thought it was part of the incense. It wasn't.
It was not. No, it was not.
No, no.
Um, Superstitious European sailors valued the talismanic, wow, powers of the witch balls in protecting their homes, and having them be so closely associated with fishermen. Like they used to float their nets with little balls that are kind of like, I
Kind
guess
of like a
today,
buoy.
like a buoy or a bobber. Like when you go fishing, you have a
Oh,
little
yeah.
bobber.
Yeah. A
Um,
bobber.
and so witch balls have become associated with sea superstitions, which I thought was neat.
Hmm.
And did you know that glass studios often make a witch ball as the very first object that they create in a new studio? I love that.
That's
I think
cool.
that is the coolest thing. But they became super popular in the 1930s here in the United States. They were sold in well-to-do boutiques and were a common feature in women's magazines. To many, they were like, how we always talk about, oh, it's retro. Okay, this was their
Yeah.
retro. It was
Okay.
an antidote to their current modernity, and it evoked, quote, a gentle Victorianism, which I
Hmm.
think is funny. And the Spear magazine recommends that you buy, back then in the 1930s, a faded chintz chair covers with a witch ball to impart a degree of charm to one's cottage by the sea.
Oh, with a little bit of ding charm. I
A
like that.
little bit of charm. Some people planted their witch balls to planted inside their witch balls to make terrariums, which I think is a great idea.
Oh, I like
Then
that.
the evil entities that are caught in there would have their own little park.
We'll be right back.
Hey, welcome to Shad Talk, a podcast where hip hop culture set the stage for deep and thought provoking discussions on culture and society. Sometimes it'll get wild, hilarious, crazy, or inspirational, or all the above. But all the time, it will be entertaining. So give it a chance. Every Friday, 6 a.m. Stay blessed. 1.
Yeah, and then you can drown them
Yeah.
in the ocean.
Well, that true. That true. That too. I am having issues. Others would fill them with rocks, glass beads, and water to create shimmering light effects. When you hang them in the window, the sun would come through them, that kind of thing.
Hmm.
Tales were spun that authentic witch balls could only be obtained from spiritualists or gypsies. And it was apparently very chic and vogue to buy and display these witch balls as a materialistic expression of how cool you were.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Ah.
I'm so cool. I have this gypsy witch ball or this ghost witch ball or a witch
Yeah.
ball.
Yep.
For a time, it was all that to have, these interactions with the occult. Remember, we talked about in some of our other episodes about how vogue it was to have seances. We had
Yep. Yep,
the
we did.
first ladies in the White House have
Yes.
seances. So it was popular back in those
It was
days.
up and hip.
It was hip, yeah.
It was
Which
hip.
back then they would go, hip? What does that mean?
Yeah, and that's an old term.
It's like a 70s term, I think.
That's old.
Not when you're in the 1930s, it would have been a futuristic term.
Yeah.
Yeah. The oldest example of a witch ball that makes explicit reference to its magical properties of protection is in the National Museum of Ireland. I've got to go see it. And
Oh.
it is described, I guess, on its little plaque. It says it's a fine old sapphire blue glass witch ball to be suspended from ceilings and supposed to ward off evil spirits and witches.
Ooh, speaking of Ireland, this is off topic, but if anybody's interested, keep listening. Ireland is doing this thing where it's giving 100, it's iffy. I've seen different sources say different things about the amount. Between $90,000 and $130,000 to a person to move to one of their remote islands. And
Really?
you have to take the money that they give you and put it towards one of the buildings there that is older than 1993 and has been unlived in or uninhabited for at least 2 years. And then you can live there.
That is so cool. That's like that one that we did in our wine episode where in Italy they were selling like wineries.
Yeah. This one's current, and it was funny because I found a pros and cons list, and on the cons, which I think for you would be a pro, was the nightlife and the city life. There's nothing to do except for to drink.
I love it. Sign me up.
And so I was like, oh, like I feel like you and your husband would be happy in Ireland.
I'm the party, so when I'm there, there's no problem.
Yeah. The island would the remote island would sink with how much partying you would do.
They would pay me to leave, I think.
No, but that's actually a real thing. Like they will pay you. It's called like an expact or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Pay somebody to move there, and then you renovate this house or building, and then you get to live there.
But how do you get money?
They give it to you.
How do you? I know, but how do you keep getting money? How do you pay for future food? And
that's for you to figure out.
I could own a bar. Oh, I could own a bar.
Ooh, see, it's a big drinking
it's all
town.
Coming together.
You own a bar. I'll be the bartender.
There you go. I
make
love
our
it.
small little living on a tiny little remote island that has
a bed and breakfast.
Yeah, it says it has no access to the main island for months at a time.
Oh my Lord! Hey,
but it does have 300,000 visitors per year.
See, if our guests came, we would throw them parties. Absolutely, yep. We should look into this.
We could call it like River and Wren's Tavern, the Witches of the East, or something like that, wherever we're located.
Okay, we have to convince our husbands
to move to Ireland. Okay, off topic, but on topic.
Okay, back to witch balls. Apparently, a lot of people think that the hollow transparency of a ball is considered to be important. There are all kinds. The mirrored ones you can't see through; they're reflective. But a lot of people think that the hollow transparency, or at least they did think this, is important, as it is the key to catching the evil spirit is by having it transparent. One source from 1930 shows a belief that the balls should actually be filled with tiny pieces of wool, because it was believed that no witch could cast an evil eye on the owner until she had counted every single piece of wool in the house. And I find it funny. I found several references that wool is supposed to be anti-witch. And I find that extremely funny because I don't like wool very much. It's very itchy to me. And so now I know why, right?
Yeah, I don't mind wool, but you are anti-wool and I am anti-garlic and onion and all of that, because it said that witches don't like those things, and I'm allergic to those things. and I eat them still, but it makes my mouth burn.
Our next After Dark episode will be on vampires. So
to be determined. I do have little tiny fangs.
If you are patrons or subscribers through Buzzsprout, you can come and listen to our After Dark, and we will be talking about vampires on Sunday. Yes.
Woo!
Okay, so there are actually several types of witch balls. Okay. There are the glass balls that we were talking about, and these are the traditional hand-blown glass balls. And the idea,
I want to say, whoever's drinking to our episode, take a shot every time we say balls.
Oh, I love that idea.
Balls. There you go. There's a couple more for you.
Helped you out there. The idea is that evil spirits are attracted to these shiny, beautiful, colorful things like stained glass ornaments. And once they go to inspect the object, they might go inside to, quote, take a look around. And once inside, it's filled with these strings of blown glass or other items. And that is what entangles the evil spirits and keeps them inside, just like a spider web catching a fly. Evil spirits are stuck inside the witch ball forever until someone releases them by smashing the ball. Then you've got the garden balls or gazing balls. And these are typically those mirrored balls, but they don't have to be. There are some beautiful ones that have like mosaic designs on them, but they're not really transparent. And these are placed all around the garden or on your property somewhere. They're decorative, but they look a little bit different than the hand-blown glass. They're generally larger than the hand-grown glass. I mean, hand-blown grass. And they do.
I do a lot of hand growing of glass in my backyard. Like I have a whole garden just for
I have
glass.
a glass tree.
Yeah, I have a glass garden. You want to come check it out?
Okay, now I'm blushing.
Okay.
That was embarrassing. Okay.
Hand grown.
There are generally no strings inside one of these gazing balls, and it's supposed to serve that same purpose, to lure the spirits away from wreaking havoc in your garden and instead have them getting used to staring at the ball. It's like a distraction. And witches can use gazing balls in their garden to also scry or do divination with.
Oh,
so you might have
awesome. I didn't think about that.
But, like you said, you've got to be careful. If it's a crystal ball, it might start a fire. So
yeah, if it's like that denseness or it's like reflective in any way, you got to be careful.
But I did come across on the do-it-yourself, if you want to make a garden ball, you can get a ball and glue the mosaic glass in all kinds of patterns on. It's beautiful. And then you don't have to worry about burning down your garden. Did you know there is also another legend that suggests that these globes are good for attracting friendly spirits, not just for catching evil ones, that they can bring good fortune to home or garden, which some of them are so gorgeous. I would think that fairies and things, the fae, would love them.
Yeah.
So that makes sense to me. Okay. The next type, which this is fascinating, are the Appalachian witch balls. These were or are very much feared in the Appalachian Mountains. Okay. Victims of witches' curses in the mountains claim that witch balls were created on the witches' Sabbath, that the devil started a fire and put a pot on to boil and threw all kinds of nasty ingredients into this little cauldron to make these witch balls. The ingredients might have been weasel blood, baby fat, spider legs, cat bladders, cat whiskers, bat brains, myrrh resin, pig hair, all kinds of stuff.
I mean, we can't really complain about the baby fat because we talked about the baby fat in our earlier episodes, putting it on a broomstick. And
that's how you fly,
fat in your
baby.
Butt cheeks is
that's
just
right.
Confusing to me.
That's how you fly. I guess you use baby fat is usable, universal. It's a universal ingredient.
Yep. And you could use it in your whatever witch ball. You could use it on your broom. You could use it in your skincare. Come on, man. You're going to be glowing up from all orifices of your body.
There you go. And then the witches danced around the fire and chanted over these contents. And once cooled, they would roll them into balls. And these balls, the witches would then throw at intended victims to curse them with. They would curse them with illness, misfortune, or death. But I actually feel like they were probably used as a folk remedy to ward off against evil, and that it was probably the overzealous religious and superstitious folk that turned it into something bad, just like witches always have gotten a bad rap.
Yeah.
And then you've got modern witch balls, which, okay, you guys, you can find witch balls pretty much anywhere. Go to Google and type in witch balls and you will find a whole bunch of stuff. Amazon has a ton of them. And I went to look because of this episode and I've got 50 of them into my my cart now. So I'm like, I can hang these all over my garden.
Yeah.
But the good news is if you don't want to spend the $50 million that it would cost to buy all the gorgeous ones that are out there, is you can make your own. So how do you make a witch ball? I actually, and this is probably just me, but you can actually Google also how to make a witch ball and you'll come up with all kinds of different ways. But I like to think of them as being very similar to jar spells, which is one of my favorite kind of spells.
You love your jar
cast.
spells.
Mm-hmm. But instead of jars, you use those empty Christmas ornaments, those clear glass.
Oh,
Wow,
yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
struggling. Clear glass fillable ones that you can buy in Michael's or any other craft
Yeah.
store.
Or you could grow them in your garden in the backyard.
That's right. In your glass garden. Yes. But once you have that, you should think about what your intent is. What is it? What kind of ball is it that you want? Are you warding or trapping spirits? Are you absorbing negative energies? You want the negative energies to be absorbed? Are you promoting prosperity? Do you want peace and joy in your household or garden? Are you trying to draw money into a business? That kind of thing. So, as for all spells, think about what is your intention. And then, okay.
I have to pee.
Okay.
It's like I could hold it, but I can't. I really couldn't hold it anymore.
And she's back.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was like, it's we're on page 6 of 8. I can hold it, but I could not hold it anymore.
Well, I'm close to having to get another drink, but I think I can manage with what I've got until we finish.
Okay.
So, as with all spells, you think about your intentions. What is it you want from this? And then you get your empty glass fillable ornament ball, and you collect herbs to match your intention, like cinnamon for prosperity or lavender for purification, evergreens to celebrate Yule, whatever you're making it for. And then you get the other elements that you might need for your spell, like salt, little handwritten notes as to what, a petition as to what you're trying to go for, feathers, charms, pictures, whatever, ribbon or string for hanging the ball, glue or wax to seal the ball, paint or glitter if you want to make your ball colorful. So what you do is you gather and cleanse all of your items. And if you're going to paint, you do this first. So you can pour several colors of paint into the ornament, swirl it around, and then you put it upside down to let the paint drip out and dry. There are some really cool paints out there that you can do this with. There's Pebeo paints, which I love to paint with. There are metallic paints that dry in really cool patterns and colors.
Metallic would be fun.
Very fun. And they mix together, so it creates this really cool effect. If you aren't painting inside, or if you do, and make sure that the paint has dried, if you did decide to paint it, then you get the glass ball ornament ready and you begin adding your contents. And you tell each item as you add it what its purpose is, or you can chant to it or sing to it, or however you normally do when you make a jar spell to raise the energy of your spell. If you're like me and want the increased intention of a worded spell, you can write one or find one online. You can then put the top on the ball and seal it with glue or wax. And this is the point where I actually usually recite my spell, is as the wax is melting and sealing the ornament. I kind of do it as a culmination of my spell, and then hang the ball wherever you feel like it will best serve your purpose. So it could be from the ceiling, out in the yard, from a tree, on your Christmas tree, if you've got a Yule tree, in a window. Some people do think that a witch ball has to have an open top in order to catch the spirit, but I feel like spirits can go through boundaries. They go through walls and doors and that kind of thing. So it's up to you. Do what feels right to you. If you don't want to close it up, then by all means, don't do the wax. That's fine. So what I would do for mine, if I were making a protection spell, I would probably paint it. I would probably use Pebeo blue, black, and white paint and allow it to form its really cool designs. Once it was dry, I would put sea salt, black pepper, bay leaves, clear crystal quartz chips, because that always amplifies other crystals. I would put obsidian chips in it. There's all kinds of crystals, which I do love crystals a lot, but you could put cinnamon in it. There's cinnamon sticks are beautiful.
Oh yeah, they are.
You could do blue ribbon and black ribbon, which I would curl, the wrapping ribbon that you can
Mm-hmm.
make really curly. It makes when it's a clear glass ball, it looks really cool in there.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to make some of these. So that's what I
Yeah.
would do.
I'm thinking mine would be more of like nature built. It would have like dirt and a
I
little
like
bit
that
of
idea.
a little bit of water, like a river, stream, or whatever. It would have the rocks of the land, a little bit of crunched leaves, some green leaves, and then I think the ribbon that you are talking about, I would do like a loose vine or something. That would be
For
mine.
sure. That
Ooh,
would be
maybe some like
amazing.
flower petals or something. Oh, I have to tell you. So my husband bought me flowers the other day. No,
Aw.
not the other day, but like a month ago or so, or maybe 2 months ago. He's bought me flowers since, but these are specific flowers, okay?
Okay.
So these flowers, a couple months ago, I was like, I'm going to save the petals. So I took all of the petals off and put them into a jar. And I left the jar in a dark closet. Like I just forgot about them. I left them in the corner. And it smelled amazing, which it shouldn't have because there was literal mold growing on them. But they had moistened, like they had created a water, like it looked like blood because they were roses. And so it looked like as thick and viscous as blood is, but it wasn't like, super thick. It was like the thickness of
like blood. Yeah.
And it was so cool, but it smelled like roses, but there was mold growing on the leftover petals.
That's so cool.
I had to throw it away.
What did you do with them? Oh.
I had to throw it away because I didn't want like the mold or anything to be like serious or whatever. But if I had saved that liquid, I could have used like a rose petal, like basically like
for sure.
What do you call it? Like it's like not an
elixir,
but like
it
was like literally like pure rose blood. Basically, I could have used it for something, but I didn't want to cause like sickness or illness and anything.
That is so cool.
It was very interesting, and I showed my husband. He was like, "What is that?" I was like, "I don't know. I made a potion."
I made a potion, baby.
It was funny.
Oh, that's funny. Well, I think everybody should go out and make witch balls or go buy the 50 million that you've got in your Amazon card because you've listened to this recipe.
Yeah.
Wow.
This recipe
episode.
Thank you for listening to our recipe. We hope you enjoy it, and we'll get back to you next week with a new one.
A new recipe next week.
A recipe of the week, which actually follows up pretty well with our episodes and everything. Is something happening to my microphone?
You sound normal to me.
Okay, it sounds different in my ears, so I'm hoping that I sound fine. But I post a recipe of the week every week on TikTok, and I know one is supposed to go. I know when we're recording it, it's different, but this is just throwing me off. The
you sound okay. You can't hear yourself. I can hear you.
It's kind of like muddled. That's a little bit better. I turned up my sound a little bit now. Okay. Anyways. Which I have a new recipe coming out tomorrow, which basically when this episode comes out is yesterday.
It will be yesterday. Yeah.
Yeah. So I have a new episode. Wow. A new recipe coming out for TikTok. And do you want to do the outro, or I could do the intro
recipe?
Outro.
They're interchangeable, apparently.
Yeah.
I can do it. You always end up having to do it because I always forget.
Yeah, and it's always terrible.
Nuh-uh. That is all we have for this episode. You can find everything you need to know about us on our website, which is www.c3witchypodcast.com. There you have access to all of our social media, our email. We've got people that contact us directly from the website. They email us. They talk to us through social media.
Yep.
It also has our blog, our merch. Definitely go check out our merch. Represent us, please.
Yeah, I'm going to try to work on some so we can have Halloween merch. That's a try,
sure.
Though.
Yeah, we got Samhain coming up.
Yes.
Please consider supporting us like we talked about at the beginning. Any amount helps. Also, check out my store on Etsy. It is batsandbaublesinc.etsy.com. I have been working on digital things. I've got a digital Maven planner coming out. I'm working on it. It should be up shortly. I've also made a whole bunch of new witchy necklaces, which I think are really pretty. So I'm going to be putting those up soon. So come support me that way. We'll be back.
We'll be back.
And until then, stay witchy.
Woo.